Hey there, it's another beautiful day. Yes, Southern California is still on fire. I've got 3 huge ones surrounding me. One to the north, one to the east, and one to the south. It's gross. Let's watch some stuff.
It works by 2 major components. The first one is a circulatory system that goes through an oxygenator. So it's a connection through the umbilical cord vessels that allows blood to flow out of the fetus through the oxygenator and back into the fetus, exchange gases like the placenta does. And then the other component is a fluid environment that surrounds the fetus and allows the fetus to swallow and breathe amniotic fluid like it's supposed to during development.
Starting today's episode off strong with an artificial womb. Yes, it worked on a lamb. It kept it alive for 4 weeks. I don't know if the lamb actually survived beyond that point, but this technology is certainly getting a little advanced, isn't it?
We got some really creepy, probably controversial technology going on here. We are talking about artificial wombs where you could literally grow a baby in a fake womb and pick out all its characteristics and track its growth on an app. The clinic is called Ectolife and it's being made in Germany. It's also labeled as controversial, probably not surprisingly, but it expects to develop 30,000 lab-grown babies a year and will basically be ready to start doing this in 10 to 15 years, meaning anyone could use the clinic and facilities if you could afford the services. And the developer explains that parents will be able to physically watch the growth and development of their child in the womb because the wombs are going to be see-through, and they'll also be able to track the growth on a custom app. And here is a picture. This is not from a movie. This is real life. Would love to hear your thoughts.
That's totally fake. It's not happening. It is a concept, but just about anything can be a concept, right? Like we can think, hey, this might be able to happen. Now, this guy that created that video is actually a writer. He loves science and he's actually a molecular biologist. But that's not real. That is, like I said, it's a concept. It's not actually happening. And he wrote, he's written books. This guy's written science fiction books. So I'll put a link to his page and you can see exactly what this guy's all about. And that's not actually happening. Doesn't mean it's not far off, because I truly believe that we're getting there. But it's not happening right now.
The third world is not poor. You don't go to poor countries to make money.
It really is that simple, right? If a country has a lot of valuable resources, that's a wealthy country. If that country has a lot of poor people, it means that the wealth from those resources is being stolen. If Western corporations are utilizing that wealth to stimulate Western economies, it means that the Western world is stealing wealth from developing countries, and that's why the people there are poor. So don't be surprised when this status quo creates a situation where poor people from wealthy countries have to migrate to poor countries with wealthy people to avoid living in the poverty that we created for them.
Certainly does make a lot of sense there, doesn't it? How strange is that when there's somebody that you absolutely know, 100% certain is no longer alive, and you swear you see them? It's weird, right? Hey, really quick, while I've got your attention, would you do me a huge favor and hit that like button for me? It'll really help out my channel. And if you haven't already, maybe you'd consider subscribing and then come back tomorrow, because I'm making a new episode every day. All right, let's get back to the stuff.
The human race might be running out of time because fungus is learning to drive in biohybrid robots. And what you're looking at here in this first image is a biohybrid robot with the white petri dish in the middle being the fungus brain controller. And I do absolutely have a video of this thing moving. Let's take a look at how it actually looks. Now they built a robot with wheels, and they built a robot with legs. The one with legs is pretty wild here. It responds to stimuli from like ultraviolet light. It'll move in the direction that they shine the light. And this is sped up really fast because fungus doesn't think very quickly. It's kind of a slow species. So it does look a little bit fake and stop motion. You can see they're hitting them with the ultraviolet light to make it go forward. The fungus is not a speedy driver. No matter what I'm concerned about, it's no Toad from Mario Kart. But let's jump into the actual science that explains what in the world is going on. So this is part of a new kind of biohybrid robot. We've done this with jellyfish and sea slug mussels and a couple of other things, using the organic parts as a mechanical part and usually having a mechanical controller like a chip telling it to contract. In this case, they're kind of doing the opposite. And they are using fungi. These fun little guys communicate using electrical signals sent through their mycelium, which is their root system. So the team grew the mycelium directly into the electronics of a robot, tapping into those natural signals to drive the machine. And then they created an electrical interface that accurately records the electrophysiological activity from the mycelia, processes it, and converts it into a digital signal that the robot can understand. So then what it does is when the robots are exposed to light, it can sense the electrical activity in the fungus in response to that light, and then the robot is the one that makes the decision to walk forward. So basically, they're using the fungus not as much as a brain and a little bit more as a sensor to indicate, okay, what we're looking for is this way, and then the robot understands the direction and does all the actual moving.
Jerry Howard, you're responsible for this. I could have lived my entire life not knowing that this is the kind of crap that we are doing today. We are putting like legs on mushrooms. For crying out loud. First it's like, what was it? The brain organoids, right? Playing frickin' Pong, putting them in microchips and crap and giving them bodies. And now we're doing it with mushrooms, with fungus. What the actual frick are we thinking? God dang, we just cannot stop, can we? As a people, we are pretty doomed because we're just trying to make everything alive now.
FBI agents today arrested a former top aide to New York's Governor Kathy Hochul, accusing the former aide, of acting as a foreign agent for China in exchange for millions of dollars. Prosecutors say she acted in the interests of China and blocked representatives of the Taiwanese government from having access to high-level officials in New York. She and her husband have pleaded not guilty to the charges.
But wait, there's more. There's all kinds of crap going on in New York right now. Check this out.
We're talking about a massive operation here. The FBI raiding the homes of at least 5 people in Mayor Eric Adams' administration, including 2 of his deputy mayors, the school's chancellor, and even reportedly the NYPD commissioner.
It is all about the kids. If there's any other comments that will be made, it'll be happening tomorrow.
A testy school's chancellor, David Banks, did not answer questions about the FBI raid on his home in Harlem that he shares with Deputy Mayor Sheena Wright. It is unclear at this time if the raid was targeting one or both of them, but electronic devices were seized from their home. FBI agents on Wednesday also raided the home of Deputy Mayor for Public Safety, Phil Banks, the brother of David Banks. Phil Banks' attorney, Benjamin Brofman, confirmed this for us this afternoon. Phil Banks has been entangled with law enforcement before and was previously named by federal prosecutors as an unindicted co-conspirator in an investigation into a police bribery scheme during former Mayor Bill de Blasio's administration. Banks abruptly retired from the NYPD in 2014, but returned to city government after Mayor Eric Adams took office in 2022. Additionally, numerous outlets are reporting that the FBI also raided the home of NYPD Commissioner Edward Caban. A law enforcement source tells Fox 5 that several NYPD executives, including the police commissioner, were told to turn over their phones immediately to the U.S. Attorney's Office with the Southern District of New York.
Now, I'm kind of certain that this has something to do with like illegal donations. Like there's money going into his campaign and that's not supposed to be there for one reason or another. But a lot of people gonna be in trouble.
Debunking the silly notion that the Egyptian pyramids and ancient Peruvian walls are geopolymers. Unlike concrete blocks and bricks, which can be made from loose soil, clay, or sand, geopolymers are solid, durable materials formed through a chemical process that converts minerals found in basalt, granite, or andesite boulders These boulders are crushed to extract their mineral content. The process begins with mining and grinding the large rocks into small ones, which are then moved along via roller drums and conveyor belts until they attain a powdery mix of the finest consistency. Then the important minerals are extracted, which are then mixed with an alkaline activator solution containing substances like sodium hydroxide or potassium hydroxide to make geopolymer paste. This mixture undergoes polymerization, forming bonds between silicate species, and is then cured at elevated temperatures to strengthen the geopolymer matrix. However, ancient civilizations is believed to have lacked the machinery or tools to grind the basalt or similar hard rocks into powder. So basically saying these structures are geopolymers necessitates admitting that ancient civilizations were advanced enough to have machinery and chemical knowledge to make them. In the first place, they had to be able to identify the precise stones, rich in silicate minerals such as feldspar and pyroxene, which provide the source of silicon and aluminium ions necessary for polymerization. They would have to be able to consistently crush these rocks and heat them to consistently, even temperatures much like a factory, and know how to process metallic elements such as sodium, potassium, aluminium and iron, even though the ancients were said to have only been able to process copper and bronze tools and had zero knowledge or access to aluminium or steel tools.
I don't discredit the geopolymer stone theory. I think it's possible. It just wasn't done by the ancient Egyptians in the Bronze period because the Egyptians found the pyramids. As I said yesterday, that is my true belief that it is a previously advanced civilization. An advanced previous civilization? A previous advanced civilization? It was people long, long times ago that was very, very smart. They did it. And they may have done that. Hell, I don't know. We weren't here.
Understand that if you're a U.S. citizen, you do not own anything. If you paid your house off, you don't own it. You have an equitable interest in the property, but you don't own it. Only way you can own anything in America and actually own it is with something called allodial title. A-L-L-O-D-I-A-L. Allodial, I think that's the way it's spelled. A-L-L-O-D-I-A-L. Allodial title. Allodial title means God cannot touch it. No one. Because it's absolute owned by you. But if you don't buy your car, your jet plane, your boat, your house, whatever it is, and have an allodial title, then you don't own it. And the authorities can come in and take your home anytime they want.
So this is incredible. According to my research, this allodial term was common in the Middle Ages and early modern period. Now, in common law jurisdictions, most property ownership is fee simple, which is similar to an allodial title. However, fee simple is subject to taxation, zoning, building codes, mortgages, and liens. So there is no real ownership anymore. There's no allodial title anymore. You have something and you continue to pay for it because the United States sucks.
Hello, and welcome to part 1 of strange DARPA projects you probably haven't heard of. Now, if you don't know what DARPA is, they are the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. They partner with the DoD, and they do all the little dirty research and development projects that the government doesn't want to have tied to them. The first project we're going to talk about is EATER, the Energetically Autonomous Tactical Robot. What's strange about this robot is that it can forage for plant biomass to fuel itself, theoretically operating indefinitely. Even though this was made for just plant biomass, it scared enough people to think that they were going to be eaten by a robot, because as humans, we are biomass. The project ended up getting scrapped, so I'm wondering, would you be okay with a robot that could fuel itself indefinitely, or...
Now, I was just flipping through TikTok as one does, and I came across Joe Rogan talking about this thing. He's talking with Jordan Peterson, right? And it's absolutely insane. He's talking about them using it in the field, out in war, right? It's just like eating up bodies and energizing itself and carrying on, eating more bodies. What the frick are we doing? This is what our government is allowing these people to do. And that's why they're like she said, it's like kind of subsidiary, sub-hired, right? They're a subcontractor so the government doesn't get in trouble for creating this kind of crap. That's crazy crap. It's eating people. I don't think it got scrapped. I'm pretty sure they kept doing it.
This is a robot that you can eat and it might save your life. This is an origami robot made from dried pig intestine used in sausage casings. It can be swallowed in a capsule made of ice. It goes down the esophagus and enters the stomach where the ice dissolves and the robot can unfold itself and reveal its functional form. Its movement is controlled by an external magnetic field. Here it can complete specific tasks like dropping off medication, moving around other objects, and even patching up wounds. Take this swallowed button battery for example. If left in the stomach, it can cause severe internal burns. This robot can remove the button battery to avoid serious injury.
That's weird. That's just weird. More stuff, more weird stuff to put inside of our body. To pull out the other weird crap we decided to put inside of our body. Don't swallow crap you're not supposed to. Otherwise, you're going to have to swallow more crap you're not supposed to get that stuff out.
They're waiting to see how long will 8 billion people allow 100 families to control them.
Who are these families?
These are the elite oligarchs that control the planet. You know, they literally run us. They tell us what to do, hear, see, smell, taste, touch, feel, where we can go, where we can't go. Don't cross over that invisible line because if you do, you know, you're illegal and all this other kind of crazy stuff. They're running us, and governments are put in place to work for the people, but they got it flipped and they got us working for them.
Right.
And telling us what they're going to do to us if we don't listen to them. That's the opposite of what it's supposed to be. The problem, the reason why the world it is today, why we have this boot on our neck is because of us. We're the problem. The 8 billion are the problem. They're sharks. A shark smells blood, a shark attacks.
Right.
A shark is going to be a shark. How come we as 8 billion people haven't stopped falling for these divide and conquer tactics and stop fighting each other over the scraps and realize who the real enemy is? While we're fighting each other, they're just cutting up the pie and laughing at us. Left wing, right wing, all the same bird, right? There's no such thing as a Democrat or Republican.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that does exist, like I say, is a group of elite oligarchs that torture men, women, and children worldwide. That exists. Democrat and Republican doesn't exist.
Here. I'm not even going to elaborate on that. It was very well put. I'm just going to call it for today. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. Come on back tomorrow. We're going to watch some new stuff. I'll say different things, and it's going to be fantastic. Until then, have a wonderful day.